Hi guys, Rap Critic here, and this was a request by my mom. And if you'd like to join my Patreon to vote on the next song I review, plus see episodes early and join my Discord, hit the link tree below, where you can also check out the interview we did with underground legend R.A. the Rugged Man on my podcast, Going Off with RC and Muse. We talked about his career and his new album and a bunch of other stuff, so yeah, if you're interested, hit the link tree below. So because my mom requested it, let's talk about Because I Got High by Afroman. You ever just say a sentence that makes you realize how weird your life is?
Roll another blunt.
I think I just may need to. Seriously though, I just might need a little inspiration to be able to do a lyric breakdown of a song like this. I mean, I haven't heard it in years, but I'm pretty sure like 60% of the lyrics are just because I got high, so this may be a short one, folks. I mean, how much can I say about a novelty joke song that barely sounded like dude was even trying in the first place? Well, I'll give it a listen and see how I feel. So, guys, this may be the quarantine craziness kicking in, but I think Because I Got High is a brilliant piece of music about the struggles of black life filtered through the absurdist lens of a comedy rap song. And even I can't tell how ironic I'm being as I say that. But as I took a look at the lyrics as a whole, it began to paint a bigger picture of social commentary about the mental state of the black man at the dawn of the 21st century.
It's like, I don't care about nothing, man.
Even from the very first lyrics, the song functions as a manifestation of black nihilism. In the face of all the forced mental and physical labor black people have had to unquestionably bear for centuries, one man, fully free to speak his mind to the masses through a lucky confluence of independent hip-hop, weed, and the internet, used his platform to say he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. But okay, let's back up. Let's talk about his actual inspiration for the song. So, Afroman says he was having a day where he was just kind of feeling ambitious, like he was ready to go into the studio and just write a whole bunch of new music. But then a friend he hadn't seen in a while unexpectedly stopped by his place, and instead of doing anything, they just ended up smoking weed and wasting most of the day. But after he left, the idea immediately came to him. Write a song about not getting anything done because of smoking weed all day. And from there, the rest is history. Next thing you know, dude's shooting a music video for the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie, and a move so fitting. As a kid, I thought the song was made for the film. It just felt too perfect of a pairing for that to not have been the case. Of course, that's probably because I had the movie on DVD, which plays the song in its entirety over the credits, including the verses missing from the radio version. I actually reviewed it on my movie podcast you can check out in the link tree below if you want to hear my thoughts on it, but suffice to say, you could be watching better Kevin Smith movies. In addition to that smart bit of marketing synergy though, he was also one of the first artists to see value in Napster, taking a hint from some kids in the neighborhood he knew to upload the track to the site early on, which was a genius move considering the younger ages of the users who were probably on Napster at the time. I mean, the first huge viral hit from Napster happening because a bunch of kids wanted to share a song about cutting class and refusing to clean your room? Yeah, that makes sense. This tactic immediately led to it becoming one of the site's most downloaded songs, a domino effect which then led to it becoming the most requested song of the year 2000, with some radio stations confessing to having to play the song at least 7 to 8 times per day, popping monocles all across the globe with its goofy tales of smoking weed and masturbation. Of course, it seems even more ridiculous that it was such a taboo, what with weed being almost completely legal now, but at the time, MTV wouldn't even allow it to be played during the day. And we wouldn't want that, would we? 3 minutes of a black man just getting high? Well, that would just be dangerous and irresponsible for MTV to air during the day. But exploiting endless waves of drunk, fame-hungry 20-somethings and recording their compromised morals for the world to see, that's just wholesome daytime TV. Although I find it funny anyone thought this was going to be some kind of negative influence on kids, like it was going to get them to start smoking just because they heard the song. Because if you're a kid and your only experience with weed is these lyrics, you'd think it was a horrible thing to do. For God's sakes, it's about a guy who lost his house and family because he just couldn't stop smoking weed.
I messed up my entire life because I got high.
This isn't exactly the slogan a dealer would slap on the back packaging of an edible, is all I'm saying. Now, to be fair, Afroman himself said the song, of course, wasn't intended to be anti-weed, saying in interviews that anything can be considered addiction for you if it's something that just eats up all of your time. And it's true, addiction can happen with anything, really. It's about how your brain rewards itself with certain patterns and certain chemicals. However, it's pretty obvious. He wasn't trying to make any grander point. It was just intended to be a funny song he wrote in 5 minutes to joke about with his friends. But every now and then, a lyric from this goofy song about smoking weed will suddenly tap into the deeper nihilistic turmoil of the African-American experience.
I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high.
You're starting to catch on to what I mean, right?
Now I'm a paraplegic and I know why.
And on one hand, you're laughing at him as an individual who got into serious trouble in the middle of acting like a dumbass and driving high. But, you know, the outrageous, hyperbolic punchline about having your legs broken because of police brutality really starts to stick in your craw when you think about it for more than a second. Because, I don't know about you, but, Makes me remember a very specific case not too particularly long before the song came out, where a dude named Rodney King was on PCP when he was pulled over. And it's like, yeah, he definitely should have done that. But it in no way justifies the overwhelming force of a gang of cops who should be trained to have restraint, beating a non-resisting man within an inch of his life. There's no procedural reason why the guy needed to get the crap beaten out of him. It's not like you need to be properly tenderized before you go to jail. They could have just as easily pulled him over and put him in cuffs. But no, they beat him up because they were on a power trip and thought they could get away with it because he's black, so they just assumed no one would care. And again, in this song, the story's played for a laugh, but it comes off like a truth and just scenario that still sets in your mind the unnerving reality of black confrontations with police, especially in relation to a substance that was criminalized for, honestly, no real reason beyond racism as soon as you look too deep into it. And since I had to do research for this episode, I did look into it, which for me made the song's existence feel even more defiant. Just the fact that it's about a drug that's been historically coded as being bad because of its association with minorities. And through sheer luck, he turned it into an unavoidable radio hit, which undeniably pissed off all the prudes and low-key bigots who couldn't escape it. And speaking of pissing off bigots, Afroman then takes a bold stance against anti-Semitism in the black community.
I don't believe in Hitler, that's what I said.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Of course, the lyric always felt just kind of random to me growing up because, I didn't realize how big of an issue anti-Semitism still was. But, the internet collectively just found out Nick Cannon, of all fucking people, is an anti-Semite. So in that vein, it's like, hey, yeah, maybe we should have more songs that randomly make fun of racist douchebags.
So all of you skins, please give me more head.
Sure, it's a dumb sophomore joke, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure the Nazis got the point. You're probably not going to the show of the guy who just told you and every Jew hater like you to suck his dick. Besides, if you can be convinced that the people who were targeted and murdered during one of the worst tragedies of the 20th century are somehow the evil force in control of everything, I'd say you don't deserve a more intelligent takedown. Of course, that's not to say that there aren't lyrics where he's absolutely in the wrong for what he's doing.
I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't.
But according to the ad-libs, he wasn't planning on doing the right thing before he smoked weed anyways. So maybe there's more going on here, and how he's avoiding responsibility not because he's under the trance of a drug controlling his actions, but maybe because he's had this pre-existing desire to run away from earthly responsibilities. And maybe it's the mind-opening experience of weed that's finally allowing him to confront those feelings of inner turmoil or existential dread or whatever big word I used earlier.
I lost my kids and wife because I got high.
Or maybe it's just a dumb song about a bafflingly irresponsible person. Probably should take care of your kids, though, dude. It's not their fault you didn't figure out this existential shit before you had them. Fucking take care of your kids, man.
I was gonna go to court before I got high.
Then again, if he's not showing up to court dates, maybe the woman in this situation should consider it an easy break. She doesn't have to put up with him anymore.
I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high.
It certainly doesn't sound like she's missing much.
Now I'm jacking off, and I know why.
But I gotta say, I absolutely love the self-aware, embarrassed ad-libs at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he seems very conflicted, as you can hear the too sincere for their own good ad-libs expressing concern over confessing some shit he probably shouldn't be confessing, while the stone part of his mind keeps egging him on to say even more.
I do that over, man.
If that doesn't encapsulate the spirit of being high, I don't know what does. In fact, when I think about it, the strength of the song is really in the ad-libs where he's joking back and forth and doing the call-in responses and the snippy remarks. It gives it that fun, cordial vibe where you feel like you're just right there along with him, sitting in some danked-up basement, smoking and joking about your problems with a friend. And since the song's structure as a whole is basically one melodic line like 10 times in a row, what keeps it interesting to re-listen to is not only the way each verse gets worse for him, but how little parts in the ad-libs add to the comedic moments.
And all the damn weed I be smoking is bomb as hell, yeah.
Excellent delivery.
But then one ad-lib at the tail end of the song jumped out at me.
Fuck the corporate world, biatch.
And it once again painted the song in a new light. Why else would a song about doing nothing end with him explicitly waving a middle finger to the American money machine, which grinds and exploits its workers all day, and for whom many black people have especially felt the inequality befall us, in spite of our best efforts anyway? That's right, friends. His laziness doesn't just come from some general unmotivated feeling of malaise. It's motivated by how weed has given him the clarity to see through the American fallacy of meritocracy. And after all of that, the police brutality, the capitalist corporations, and the inherent evil of their design by nature of how it exploits the workers, and how that exploitation is felt even more so by a group of people that have been treated like property since the country's inception, their refusal to willingly participate in such an unfair, racist system feels just a little bit justified, doesn't it? It's like the great Paul Mooney once said,
"We were forced to come here to work for free. So if black people choose to sit on their ass, so be it."
Shit, makes sense to me. Overall, I give this song a 4 out of 5. All the serious stuff aside though, it's just an enjoyable song, and now that it's not absolutely saturated everywhere, I think you can still come back to it and appreciate it as a fun ditty that can still get some laughs out of you. And yeah, there's a positive remix he did in like 2014, but it's just about the good things about weed.
No more criminal traps if it's legalized. I don't have to buy from gangbangers shooting craps if it's legalized.
And sure, he makes some good points about how it helps with glaucoma and how decriminalization makes weed culture a safer environment to be a part of. But fuck that version, I don't want to hear positivity in my stoner anthems, that shit ain't funny. But yeah, that's the episode. Leave a like if you like cause it helps, comment if you have something to say cause it helps even more, and hit the subscribe button and the bell cause it helps the most. And if you want to get my merch, follow me on social media, listen to my podcast, or support the show, all those links are in the link tree below. So check all that fun stuff out and I'll catch you next time. Peace.